Hey y'all, wanted to create a video here to share my experience using an Epson scanner for scanning my Pokemon and Magic cards for my TCG player business. So I've been selling for about 6 months now. I've been doing a lot of bulk buying collections. And one of the main problems that we tend to run into is, you buy a lot of cards, you gotta zipper them in, you gotta do all this stuff, and it gets really tedious. And so something that really intrigued me as I was doing research is switching maybe over to a chaos sort system or something similar, and enabling myself to scan or use software to identify cards, create batches, work off of an inventory system as opposed to kind of doing the standard set-based sorting. It gets really tedious. Zippering them in sucks. It's hard work. And so really wanted to experiment with this. So one of the more common scanners is the Fujitsu or Ricoh, but those are really expensive. You run into $600-700 purchases there. I'm a pretty small little shop and I don't have a ton of money. So I've tried to invest most of that into buying cards or, collections or bulk. So it was really useful for me to try to find something a little more budget. You can find the Ricohs or the Fujitsus for a little bit cheaper, if you're lucky online or anything like that, but I was a little impatient and these run almost half price compared to Fujitsu, not as fast, but so far so good with some modifications. So really quick, gonna run through a bunch of different cards here. So I've got some reverse holos, I've got some holos. I'm just gonna throw these in here and kind of show you guys how this works. So just slot them in here. I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze that shut. And I can just pick my computer here and I can do two-sided, I can do one-sided. If I'm listing on eBay or anything like that, two-sided is really nice because it'll scan both the back and the front of the card so you can get that complete picture for your buyers. In this case, just for demonstration, I'm just gonna stick to the one-sided and we'll call it good from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and push start. And yeah, these are raw cards being fed through the system. I will show you the modifications I've made to the scanner after this is done, but you can kind of see here it's a little bit slower than say your Ricoh. If you've seen videos, it's just like pop, popping cards out. But again, you kind of get what you pay for here. It's a little bit cheaper. And honestly, this works at a really good pace for me. I can load 50, 60 cards in and not really have any problems. I can putz with other things, get Sort Swift started on something, and then come back to my computer and all the cards are loaded. So again, raw cards being fed through here. These are holos. These are Pokemon cards. I think I threw some Magic cards. We might see one slip through as it's scanning. And I will show you that we really don't get any marks after some modifications. Yep, there's that Magic card. So I'll check back with you when this is done. All right, we're back. So I just wanted to show you that there is no damage on these reverse holo cards. I did, when I first got the scanner, would notice that occasionally I would see some lines, like a line get pressed in kind of right about where my thumb is or kind of where that leaf symbol is in the circle there on the reverse holo. Would see that pretty consistently in cards. But as you guys can tell now, as I kind of get that overhead light to really shine on there, these cards are looking pretty minty. Again, this is just kind of from my random bulk pile, but let me pull this one up a little bit closer and so you can kind of see here, we don't have any scan lines, which are lines from the scanner, I guess I should say. So, raw card fed through. This was kind of the dream for me when I first got this. I could run Magic cards through it all day, no problems, but Pokemon cards, I think the stock's a little bit thicker, would cause some problems for me, or maybe it was just not as a little more sensitive to the pressure from the machine. So now this really enables us to scan a bunch of cards all at once. I usually do lots of 50 to 100, and then I load these into my chaos sort system. I use Sort Swift, but there's a bunch of them out there, card uploader, etc. And then this is letting me process bulk lots of cards. As you guys can see, I've got just a few over here, and this lets me process them quickly, scan them, get them uploaded, and I don't have to zipper sort or anything like that. So this scanner, has been super helpful for me as I try to optimize my time spent, not just sifting through cards, but listing cards. And next I'm gonna kind of walk you through some of the modifications I had to make. in my experience. I've heard some folks say that these scanners can work out of the box. Didn't work out of the box for me without damaging the cards. Like I said, I think Magic cards for me, raw Magic cards worked great. Foils could get some lines on them. Pokemon cards, again, I think like a thicker stock had some problems there, but we just popped this open and the modifications are really easy. I did masking tape here over these little protrusions. I don't think it's necessary, but I wanted to err on the side of safety. If I scan down lower between the rollers, there was some harder plastic as well. I threw some tape on that. I really don't think it made much of a difference. If I had to pick the key areas that need to be taped, I would say right here. Make sure that you don't tape down this toggle, otherwise it's gonna always think it has a jam. But I think tape across here was really helpful. This was kind of in line with where I would see scratches on the cards or lines. When I am processing raw, I do not take out the wheel. I can actually take this wheel out. If you're doing sleeved cards or top loaders, you might want to take the wheel off. I can maybe do a video demonstrating that, but in my experience, it's not really worth it. So I keep that in for raw cards, and I will kind of walk you through one other modification that I did. So if you reach down in here, you can actually pop this whole section out. And previously, this actually is tucked into that, into the gray device, and it helps hold the cards. This, I think, is the culprit. So if you look over here, you can see this has got kind of a pointed edge to it. You could probably sand it down or maybe tape it, but it was really consistent in the location of the line marks that I would see. And so I just took this out. It doesn't really seem to impact the feeding or anything like that. I can always put it back in if I need, but this was the culprit for me, took that out. Another little tip that I'll give you is to run the tape underneath for this area, underneath where this gray plating will go. And what that does is it will stop the cards from catching the edge of the tape and rolling up and getting stuck. So I've had that happen a couple times, but as you can see now, the ends of the tape go under this, and so the cards always glide right over the top. So yeah, these were the modifications that I made, and she's been working really good for me now. No issues. Like I said, lets me do, 60 cards in no time flat, 60 to 100 cards in a batch. Then I just pump it into Sort Swift. I can do front and back for eBay if I really want to. And it's worked really well, and it's like half the price of a Fujitsu. Again, slower, but has been really good for me where I'm not processing thousands of cards, but if I've got a few spare moments, I can scan a batch. Like I said over here, I can scan a batch of those cards, run them through, get them into Sort Swift, get them into my system, and I'm off to the races, and I'm not having to zipper or alphabetically sort. I just do them in batches, chaos sort for the win, and move on with my life. So hopefully this video helps you. I find that scanners can be really useful. They're not necessary to get started, but especially as you start processing more cards and have to balance zippering and everything, definitely worth it to look into investing, or if you want to do chaos sort, I can't recommend it enough. And hopefully, this gives you more options. Everybody talks about the Fujitsu or the Ricoh. It's expensive. If you can get it, that's great. Maybe someday I will as well, but this one does the job all the same. And I hope it helps somebody. All right, we'll catch you on the flip side.